Okay, so I added real number systems because you are going to need to know it a little bit, especially when it comes to rational and irrational numbers coming up. That's why I made sure I had a big, huge irrationals picture. Now, the real number system is it might give you a scenario and say like, what of this makes sense or does it make sense? So if you asked a baby, like a 2-year-old, please count for me, almost always they would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are natural numbers. It doesn't have the number 0. So if we're talking about how many, honestly, you almost always will use whole numbers. So let's talk about whole numbers. Whole numbers are natural numbers in 0. So for example, if I say how many students are in the class, 0 students are in the class, 5 students are in the class. How many students are in the auditorium? 200 students. You wouldn't have like 0.5 students in the auditorium. That wouldn't be a whole number. Now, if we're talking about integers, integers deal with positive and negative. So it's all our whole numbers plus their additive inverses, plus their negatives. And again, those aren't fractions. It's specific things. Like if you had bills in your pocket, you wouldn't have it. You can't go to Chick-fil-A and say, can I please have 4.7 chicken fingers? They're going to be like, what? No, you can't. You can't have 4.7 chicken fingers. Like we don't do 0.7. So integers are whole ideas. Okay. Rational numbers are anything that can be done as a fraction. If it's a fraction, it's a rational number. And I'm going to show you an amazing trick in Desmos in a second. Irrational numbers is everything else that's not pretty. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look. The easiest way I think to do this is by using the scientific calculator. So I'm going to just refresh here and pull open the scientific calculator. Notice how this says negative square roots of 17. So I'm going to do negative square root 17. Do you see how that's an ugly decimal? Negative 4.123105626, and it would keep going on and on. Anytime you see something that's ugly, it's going to be irrational. It's also going to be real. Now, if something is an imaginary thing, it would be, if it's divided by 0, then it wouldn't be anything. Or if you have the letter I for imaginary, it wouldn't be real. Let's look at the next one. See this beautiful number, negative 2? Well, because it's negative, I know it's not going to be a natural number because babies aren't like, negative 2. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to be a whole number, but because it's a negative whole number, it is going to be an integer. And here's the secret. As soon as you click 1, it's everything that comes after it. No, it's not. I lied. It's not going to be irrational. It's an integer, and because it's an integer, it's a rational number. But it's not going to be irrational. All right, let's look at the next thing. The next thing is already a fraction, but let's just type it in the calculator. Remember, if we see this fraction button, it means that it is rational. If it's pretty and not a fraction, then it would be an integer or a whole number, a natural number. So that's just rational. Because it's rational, it's also real. All right, let's look at the number 0. The number 0, do babies start with 0, 1, 2? Nope. They start with 1, 2, 3. So 0 is not a natural number, but it is a whole number. It is also an integer. It is also a rational number, technically 0 over 1. It's not irrational, but it is real. Negative 6.06. Watch this. Let's say you don't know what that is, so we're going to put negative 6.06. See this fraction button? That makes it rational. So we have it rational. There's a decimal, so it's not an integer. And that means since it's not an integer, it can't be a whole number or a natural number. So it's just rational and real. Okay? And I'm not going to go over any more of these because did you notice what I did for you? The answers are on the bottom. How cool is that? See you later.